Did you pray today? Have you read your word before I read the word to you? First thing I do when I get up is get on my knees and thank the Father. However, I have not yet read my word today. And I was watching a study about reading the word every day, which after 4 days changes your brain and makes you feel less lonely, less drug addicted, less this, less that. And we've done quite a bit of reading. So, hope that you guys are feeling helped. Definitely seeing the world differently. I am going back to the 12 tribes tomorrow. Today's Monday. Monday, June 23rd. I'm looking at the clock like it's going to tell me the date. Short reading today. Let's pray. Father YHWH Elohim. Oh, there is only one. There's only one God of gods, creator of the universe, the heavens and the earth, creator of all the other gods, as we saw in Job, that all your sons come to you. These are other gods, small g gods, as we are to be small e Elohim, and sons of you. Father YHWH, we struggle down here. We know not what your will is for us, and we know that you are sovereign over all things. And we love you, and we ask that we do the right thing. And pray and know you in Yeshua's name. Amen. Alright. So we left off today. We left off yesterday with Job's three friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, coming to meet him and sympathize with him and comfort him. And like I said, the rest of a lot of this is going to be like conversation between them. I say this is mastery not only because of the depth of information, but the biblical context. You know what I mean? Like, Leviathan's in here. Where else do we see Leviathan? Well, I don't know. Somewhere in Numbers, maybe? He's in the book one other time. And, you know, so just things like that. Let's get into this. Job chapter 3. After this, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day of his birth. And Job spoke and said, "Let the day perish on which I was born, and the night it was said, a man has been conceived. Let the day be darkness, let not Eloah from above seek for it, nor let light shine upon it. Let darkness and the shadow of death redeem it, and let a cloud dwell on it. Let all that blackens the day frighten it. That night let darkness seize it. Let it not be included among the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Look, let that night be silent. Let no singing come into it. Let those curse it who curse the day, who are ready to stir up Leviathan. Let the stars of its twilight be dark. Let it wait for light, but have none. And let it not see the eyelashes of the dawn. For it did not shut up the doors of my mother's womb, nor conceal trouble from my eyes. Why did I not die from the womb? Come forth from the belly and expire. Why were there knees to receive me, or breasts for me to suck? For now I would have been lying in peace, I would have slept. Then I would have been at rest, with sovereigns and counselors of the earth, who built ruins for themselves, or with rulers who had gold. who filled their houses with silver, or as a hidden untimely birth, as infants who never saw light? There the wrongs cease raging, and there the weary are at rest. The prisoners rest together. They do not hear the voice of the oppressor. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Why does he give light to the sufferer, and life to the bitter of being? Who are waiting for death, and it does not come, and search for it more than treasures, who rejoice exceedingly. They are glad when they find the burial site. Why does he give light to a man whose way is concealed, and whom Eloah has hedged in? For my sighing comes before I eat, and my groanings pour out like water. For that which I greatly feared has come upon me, and that which I dreaded has overtaken me. I have not been at ease, nor have I been undisturbed, nor been at rest, yet trouble comes. Okay, that right there, verse 26 is a banger. I have not been at ease, nor have I been undisturbed, nor been at rest, yet trouble comes. That's like, life hasn't been easy. And I haven't been just taking it easy, and I haven't been sleeping, and yet I'm still getting smacked by all this extra stuff. That is a verse right there, because that just goes to show you that even if you're working and you are still having small troubles and you're not sleeping, grand troubles come sometimes. And so, yeah, that's, I'm gonna light this up a little bit more, and I'm gonna grab my other phone so that I can see if Leviathan is on any other, is in every other verse. Have you texted your parents today? Talked to your parents today? Leviathan verses, including Psalms. Job 41, apparently. What? Okay. So 5 times. And none of them are Numbers. I guess Numbers is just my go-to book. I'm like, nobody wants to read Numbers, so this has to be the book where they hit everything. Because, alright. So we've got Job 3:8. We're just going to take this. We're just going to start here because this is on the top of my head. Let those who curse the day who are ready to stir up, let those curse it who curse the day who are ready to stir up Leviathan. Job 41:1, which I hate going to the end of books, but we're gonna do this. There's some short chapters in Job. Wow. Okay. Would you draw out Leviathan with a hook, or snare his tongue with a line which pull you lower? We know that this is some sort of sea monster, supposedly. Psalm 74:14. I need like bookmarks. Leviathan study. A Leviathan study. Should make a great, like, I just saw this word here, so I'm going to read 13 and then 14. You divided the sea by your might. You broke the heads of the sea serpents in the water. You broke the head of Leviathan in pieces. You made him food for the people living in the wilderness. You did cleave open the fountain and the flood. You did dry up mighty rivers. I literally do need bookmarks. Psalm 104:26. Because I said this was going to be a short reading, so we might as well do an extended study on Leviathan as well. Okay, there's a bookmark. Job 3. We'll get another bookmark here. 74:14. 104:26. I'm just grabbing every little thing that I have here. 104:26. I could just read them on the website where I found this information at, but I don't get full context from there. There do ships go, that Leviathan which you made to play there. All of them wait for you, to give their food in due season. There is the sea great and wide, in which are innumerable swarms, living creatures, small with great. There do ships go, that Leviathan which you made to play there. All of them wait for you. Where is the Revelation 13:1? And I stood on the stand of the sea, and I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his head names of blasphemy. And the beast I saw was like a leopard, and his feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his throne and great authority. The dragon from Revelation 12. So the dragon gives power. The dragon, the serpent of old, the devil, Satan, gives power to the beast that comes out of the sea. That Leviathan which you made to play there. There is the sea, great and wide, in which are innumerable swarms, living creatures, small with great. There do ships go, that Leviathan which you made to play there. All of them wait for you, to give their food in due season. We've all got a role to play in this book. And then we've got one more. Isaiah 27:1. We don't spend enough time in Isaiah. These bookmarks are slightly inconvenient. Let's see if I can grab some other ones. Okay. Here we go. Cool. And then we'll go to Isaiah 27. So sometimes things like this, like I've just heard about Leviathan, and it's like, we should know, like so much Christianity has been messed up because we take people's words for it. And it's like we're not necessarily getting the truth. We're not hearing out of the scriptures, it's like Isaiah 27:1. In that day, Yahuwah with his severe sword, great and strong, punishes Leviathan, that fleeing serpent, Leviathan, that twisted serpent, and he shall kill the monster that is in the sea. For look, Yahuwah is coming out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their crookedness, and the earth shall disclose her blood and no longer cover her killed ones. And that day sing to her a vineyard of red wine. I, Yahuwah, do guard it. I water it every moment, lest any hurt it. I guard it night and day. Wrath is not in me, who would set thorn bushes and weeds against me in battle. I would go through them, I would burn them together. Or let them take hold of my strength and make peace with me. Let him make peace with me. Those who come he causes to take root in Jacob. Israel shall blossom and bud, and they shall fill the face of the world with fruit. He has smitten them. He has smitten him as he struck the ones who were striking him, or as a killer was he killed as he was killing. Isaiah 27 is a banger. Okay, so we've got 5 verses here to swing between. We've got 2 Psalms, 2 Jobs, and an Isaiah. Job is technically in the King James Version, the earliest that we see it. Serpent in the sea, monster. Referenced by Job. Plays in the sea. Made by Yahweh. Gives its food in due season. Broke the heads of Leviathan in pieces. You made him food for the people living in the wilderness. That is an interesting phrase because I don't believe that snakes are food. We're going to read Psalm 74. O Elohim, why do you forever reject us? Why does your displeasure smoke against the sheep of your pasture? Remember your congregation. You did purchase of old the tribe of your inheritance. You did redeem that's Mount Zion where you have dwelt. Lift up your steps to the endless ruins. The enemy has done all evil in the set-apart place. Your adversaries have roared in the midst of your appointments. They have set up their own signs as signs. It seems as if one had lifted up axes among the thick trees. And now all its carved work they have broken down with axe and hammer. They have set fire to your set-apart place. They have profaned the dwelling place of your name to the ground. They said in their hearts, let us suppress them altogether. They burned all the appointment places of El in the land. We do not see our signs. There is no longer a prophet, nor any among us who knows how long. O Elohim, how would the adversary reproach? Would the enemy despise your name forever? Why do you hold back your hand, even your right hand? From the midst of your bosom, end it. For Elohim is my sovereign from of old, working deliverance in the midst of the earth. You divided the sea by your might. You broke the heads of the sea serpents in the waters. You broke the heads of Leviathan in pieces. You made him food for the people living in the wilderness. You did cleave open the fountain and the flood. You did dry up mighty rivers. The day is yours. The night is yours too. You have established the light and the sun. You have set all the borders of the earth. You have made summer and winter. Remember this. The enemy has reproached Yahuwah, and a foolish people has despised your name. Do not give the being of your turtle dove to the wild beast. Do not forget the life of your afflicted ones forever. Look to the covenant. For the dark places of the earth are filled with haunts of violence. Let not the crushed one return ashamed. Let the poor and needy praise your name. Arise, O Elohim, plead your own cause. Remember how the foolish man reproaches you daily. Do not forget the voice of your enemies. The uproar of those rising up against you increases continually. Okay, so interestingly, we lose prophets, we do not see our signs. The rainbow is the sign of the covenant, the covenant that Yahweh will no longer destroy us with water. The Leviathan lives in the water. The Leviathan is a serpent. Great serpent. It is a specified serpent. We don't hear too much about the ocean and the sea otherwise. And being in Israel, there wasn't too many, like the Sea of Reeds, we don't see exactly what sea, but for Elohim is my sovereign from of old, working deliverance in the midst of the earth. You broke the heads of Leviathan in pieces. The heads, plural heads of Leviathan in pieces. So this is a multi-headed serpent. Genesis 3:15, and I put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall crush your head, and you shall crush his heel. You broke the heads of Leviathan in pieces. You made him food for the people living in the wilderness. That Leviathan which you made to play there. All right. We're going to leave that alone for now. That's as far as we're getting. We're going to reread Isaiah 27 one more time. And that's just where we're going to leave it as far as we're going to read Isaiah from 25 through 27, and then we're going to leave it as far as 24 to 27, and then we're going to leave that study on Leviathan for now. See, Yahuwah is making the earth empty and making it waste, and shall overturn its surface, and shall scatter abroad its inhabitants. And it shall be, as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, and as with the female servant, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the creditor, so with the debtor. The earth is completely emptied and utterly plundered, for Yahuwah has spoken this word. The earth shall mourn and wither, the world shall languish and wither. The haughty people of the earth shall languish. For the earth has been defiled under its inhabitants, because they have transgressed the Torah, changed the law, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore a curse shall consume the earth, and those who dwell in it be punished. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth shall be burned, and few men shall be left. The new wine shall fail, the vine shall languish, all those glad at heart shall sigh. The joy of the tambourine shall cease, the noise of those who rejoice shall end, the joy of the lyre shall cease. No more do they drink wine with a song, strong drink is bitter to those who drink it. The deserted city shall be broken down, every house shall be shut, no one enters. There is a crying for wine in the streets, all joy shall be darkened, the gladness of the earth shall be gone. The city is left in ruins, and the gate is stricken with destruction. For thus it is to be in the midst of the earth among the peoples, like the shaking of an olive tree, like the gleaning of grapes when the grape harvest is done. They lift up their voice, they sing of the excellency of Yahuwah, they shall cry aloud from the sea. Therefore praise Yahuwah in the east, the name of Yahuwah Elohim of Israel in the coastlands of the sea. From the end of the earth we shall hear songs, splendor to the righteous one. But I say, waste away, I waste away. But I say, I waste away, I waste away. Woe to me, the treacherous betray, and treachery, the treacherous betray. With treachery the treacherous betray. Fear and the pit and the snare are upon you, O inhabitant of the earth. And it shall be that he who flees from the noise of the fear falls into the pit, and he who comes up from the midst of the pit is caught in the snare. For the windows from on high shall be opened, and the foundation of the earth be shaken. The earth shall be utterly broken, the earth shall be completely shattered, the earth shall be fiercely shaken. The earth shall stagger like a drunkard, and it shall totter like a hut, and its transgression shall be heavy upon it. and it shall fall and not rise again. And in that day it shall be that Yahuwah punishes on high the host of exalted ones, and on the earth the sovereigns of the earth. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and be punished after many days. And the moon shall blush, and the sun shall be ashamed, for Yahuwah of hosts shall reign on Mount Zion and in Jerusalem, and before his elders in esteem. O Yahuwah, you are my Elohim, I exalt you. I praise your name, for you shall do a wonder. Counsels of long ago, trustworthiness, truth. For you shall make a city a heap, a walled city a ruin, a palace of strangers to be a city no more, never to be rebuilt. Therefore a strong people praise you. The city of the ruthless nations fear you. For you shall be a stronghold to the poor, a stronghold to the needy in his distress, a refuge from the storm, a shade from the heat, for the spirit of the ruthless is like a storm against a wall. You subdue the noise of strangers, as heat in a dry place, as heat in the shadow of a cloud. The singing of the ruthless is subdued, and in the mountain Yahuwah of hosts shall make for a people a feast of choice pieces, a feast of old wines, of choice pieces, with marrow of old wines well refined. And he shall swallow up on this mountain the surface of the covering which covers all people, and the veil which is spread over all the nations. He shall swallow up death forever, and the Master Yahuwah shall wipe away tears from all faces, and take away the reproach of his people from all the earth, for Yahuwah has spoken. And it shall be said in that day, see, this is our Elohim. We have waited for him, and he saves us. This is Yahuwah, we have waited for him. Let us be glad and rejoice in his deliverance. For the hand of Yahuwah rests on this mountain, and Moab is trodden down under him, as straw is trodden down in the water of a dunghill. And he shall spread out his hands in their midst, as he who swims spreads out his hands to swim. And he shall bring down their pride together with the skill of his hands. And the high stronghold of your walls he shall bring down, lay it low, level to the ground, down to the dust. In that day this song is sung in the land of Yehuda. We have a strong city. He sets up deliverance, walls and ramparts. Open the gates. Let the righteous nation which guards the truth enter in. The one steadfast of mind you guard in perfect peace. For he trusts in you. Trust in Yahuwah forever. For in Yahuwah is a rock of ages. For he shall bring down those who dwell on high. He lays the exalted city low. He lays it low to the earth. He brings it down to the dust. A foot tramples it down. Feet of the poor, footsteps of the needy. The path of the righteous is uprightness. O upright one, you weigh the course of the righteous. Also in the path of your right rulings, O Yahuwah, we have waited for you. The longing of our being is for your name, and for the remembrance of you. My being longs for you in the night. Also my spirit within me seeks you earnestly. For when your right rulings are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world shall learn righteousness. The wrong finds favor, yet he shall not learn righteousness. In the land of straightforwardness he acts perversely, and does not see the excellency of Yahuwah. O Yahuwah, your hand is high. They do not see. They see the ardor of the people and are ashamed. Also, let the fire for your adversaries consume them. O Yahuwah, you establish peace for us, for you have also done all our works in us. O Yahuwah our Elohim, other masters beside you have had rule over us. Only in you do we make mention of your name. The dead do not live, the departed spirits do not rise. Therefore you have visited and destroyed them, and made all their remembrance to perish. You shall increase the nation, O Yahuwah, you shall increase the nation. You are esteemed, you shall expand the borders of all of the land. You shall expand all the borders of the land. O Yahuwah, in distress they shall visit you. They shall pour out a prayer when your disciplining is upon them. As a woman with child and about to give birth writhes and cries out in her pain, so shall we be before your face, O Yahuwah. We have conceived, we writhed in pain, we have given birth to wind, we have not accomplished deliverance in the earth, nor have the inhabitants of the world fallen. Let your dead live together with my dead body, let them arise. Awake and sing, you who dwell in the dust. For your dew is a dew of light, and let the earth give birth to the departed spirits. Go, my people, enter your rooms and shut your doors behind you. Hide yourself, as it were, for a little while until the displeasure is past. For look, Yahuwah is coming out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their crookedness, and the earth shall disclose her blood, and no longer cover her killed ones. In that day, Yahuwah with his severe sword, great and strong, punishes Leviathan, that fleeing serpent. Leviathan, that twisted serpent. And he shall kill the monster that is in the sea. In that day, sing to her, a vineyard of red wine. I, Yahuwah, do guard it. I water it every moment, lest any hurt it. I guard it night and day. Wrath is not in me. Who would set thorn bushes and weeds against me in battle? I would go through them. I would burn them together. Or let him take hold of my strength and make peace with me. Let him make peace with me. Those who come he causes to take root in Jacob. Yisrael shall blossom and bud, and they shall fill the face of the world with fruit. Has he smitten him as he struck the ones who were striking him? Or as a killer was he killed as he was killing? In measure, by sending her away, you contended with her. He shall take away by his rough wind in the day of the east wind. Therefore, by this the crookedness of Jacob is covered. And this is all the fruit of taking away his sin, when he makes all the stones of the slaughter place like chalk stones that are beaten to dust. Asherim and sun pillars rise no more, for the city of defense is lonely, a home forsaken and left like a wilderness. There the calf feeds, and there it lies down, and shall consume its branches. When its twigs are dry, they are broken off. Women come and set them on fire, for it is a people of no understanding. Therefore, he who made them has no compassion on them, and he who formed them shows them no favor. And in that day it shall be that Yahuwah threshes from the channel of the river to the wadi of Mitzrayim, and you shall be gathered one by one, O children of Israel. And in that day it shall be that a great shofar is blown, and those who were perishing in the land of Ashur out, and the outcasts in the land of Mitzrayim shall come, and shall worship Yahuwah on the set-apart mountain in Jerusalem. Okay, so the fleeing serpent, the twisted serpent. So Leviathan is running away from Yahuwah at this great day of distress. Let your dead live together with my dead body. Let them arise. Look, Yahuwah is coming out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their crookedness. Leviathan is a fleeing serpent. With his severe sword, great and strong, punishes Leviathan, and he shall kill the monster that is in the sea. Fleeing and twisted serpent. This is in the sea. And the beast in Revelation comes out of the sea. Let's go back to Job. I want everybody to know Leviathan flees from Yahuwah on the day of his wrath. Is killed by Yahuwah, breaks his head, lives in the sea, monster. I wonder what the other translations have for this, because monster is Monster's not a word that we see very often in the Bible. I gotta get a Strong's Concordance, but it's anytime we see like I think of monster and I'm like, I just don't think of that as a biblical word. You know what I mean? Like there's giants, but I got 3 translations with monster, so let's see what this translation says about Revelation. What's the word in Revelation? Probably beast. A wild beast. Okay. So, a sense of earthliness in a beast, and a sense of surprise coming out from the depths. Did you guys PT today? Pray, PT. We're gonna come up with another P. All right, let's take Job from chapter 3. We'll keep working on Leviathan as we go throughout this reading. This is our first experience with Leviathan, so it's an incomplete, but we will build on it as we go through the word. After this, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day of his birth. Cursed the day of his birth, not Yahweh yet. Okay. And Job spoke and said, so Job gets the first, his 3 friends, then they sat down with him on the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that the pain was very great. After this, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day of his birth. And Job spoke and said, so this is the first, he's breaking the silence of him and his boys, and this is what he says. Let the day perish on which I was born, and the night it was said, a man has been conceived. Very choice words. He's very well spoken. Let the day perish on which I was born. Let nobody remember it. And the night it was said, a man has been conceived. So, he's born during the day, and by night they know he's a man, and they're celebrating. And he says, let it perish. Excuse me. Let that day be darkness. Let not Eloah from above seek for it, nor let light shine upon it. Let that day be darkness. Let not Eloah from above seek for it. Let him not have a use for it. Man, all right, we're going to keep going. Nor let light shine upon it. Let darkness and the shadow of death redeem it. Let a cloud dwell on it. Let all that blackens the day frighten it. And that night, let darkness seize it. Let it not be included among the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Look, let that night be silent. Let no singing come into it. He's just depressed, and look at the poetry here. You know what I mean? Have you ever been depressed? For me, it's I just want to curl up. You know what I mean? And this man's has this is his way of speaking about it. You know. Let those curse it who curse the day, who are ready to stir up Leviathan. Let the stars of its twilight be dark. Let it wait for light, but have none. And let it not see the eyelashes of the dawn. Okay. So we're going to take that whole thing from there, 3 to 9. The eyelashes of the dawn, the break of day. Let it not wait for light, but have none. Let it wait for light, but have none. I'm remembering in the evening they will wish for morning, in the morning they will wish for evening. They will say, oh, that it were evening. I think that's Deuteronomy 28. Let the stars of its twilight be dark. He's just painting this tragic picture of death. He's mourning his life, but not his he's mourning his existence, but not his life. That like the day that he came to be was intended to be turmoil. That night let darkness seize it. Let it not be included among the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Forget about it. Let those curse it who curse the day, who are ready to stir up Leviathan. Let those curse it who curse the day, who are ready to stir up Leviathan. Let those curse it who curse the day, who are ready to stir up Leviathan. Let those curse it who curse the day, who are ready to stir up Leviathan. Those who are ready to stir up Leviathan. Who curse the day, curse it. The most aggressive ones. Now, Leviathan is a monster of the sea, symbolizing surprise and unknown. And so, those who are ready to stir up, the most adventurous, mighty warriors, let them curse the day, that it be cursed by them. Let no singing come into it. They're always singing, they're always rejoicing. Look, let that night be silent. That night let darkness seize it, let it not be included among the days of the year. Let it not come into the numbers of the months. Alright, we're going to verse 10 now. Let that day be darkness, let not Eloah from above seek for it, nor let light shine upon it. Not even let God know of the disgrace of the day. Verse 10. For it did not shut up the doors of my mother's womb, nor conceal trouble from my eyes. It did not shut up the doors of my mother's womb, nor conceal trouble from my eyes. And going back to 26, trouble comes that day. His past is haunting him. It did not shut up the doors of my mother's womb, nor conceal trouble from my eyes. Why did I not die from the womb, come forth from the belly and expire? For it did not shut up the doors of my mother's womb, nor conceal trouble from my eyes. Why were there knees to receive me, or breasts for me to suck? Why was life available outside? For it did not shut up the doors of my mother's womb, nor conceal trouble from my eyes. For now I would have been lying in peace. I would have slept, then I would have been at rest. with sovereigns and counselors of the earth who built ruins for themselves, or with rulers who had gold, who filled their houses with silver, or as a hidden untimely birth, as infants who never saw light. There's a question mark there. And this is what makes Job weird too, is that like the short verses and the punctuation is a little bit difficult to read. I would have slept, then I would have had rest with sovereigns and counselors of the earth who built ruins for themselves, or with rulers who had gold, who filled their houses with silver, or as a hidden untimely birth, as infants who never saw light. Miscarriage. Yeah, and so this is interesting too. It did not shut up the doors of my mother's womb, nor conceal trouble from my eyes. I would have been with sovereigns who built ruins for themselves, dead sovereigns, rulers who had gold. I'd have been with greater people dead than I am right now. There the wrong cease raging, and there the weary are at rest. The prisoners rest together. They do not hear the voice of the oppressor. They're dead. They're done with it. They're good with it. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from the master. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from the master. There is the sea, great and wide, in which are innumerable swarms, living creatures, small with great. There do ships go, that Leviathan which you made to play there. That Leviathan which you made to play there. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Possible that the serpent is death? That the sea... Don't we see the Sea of Gehenna? The lake of fire. Doing a lot of Googling on this. All right. So, small and great. To see the lake of fire, the Now I got the Bible app on this phone, so let's do this. Gehenna. Serpents, brood of adders, how would you escape the judgment of Gehenna? Matthew 23:33. Cast into Gehenna, sea of Gehenna. Go to Matthew 23. What I'm picturing here is the serpent and the ruler. Alright, so we have two verses about Gehenna in Matthew 23. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! Because you go about the land and the sea to win one convert, and when he is won, you make him a son of Gehenna twofold more than yourselves. Serpents, brood of adders, how would you escape the judgments of Gehenna? Alright, let's move on. Why does he give light to the sufferer and life to the bitter of being? Who are waiting for death, but it does not come, and search for it more than treasures. Who rejoice exceedingly. They are glad when they find the burial site. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty well poetry about, like, the agony that he's going through. We could break this down. Why does he give light to the sufferer? Yeshua is the light. Life to the bitter of being. Who are waiting for death, but it does not come, and search for it more than treasures. He's like, I'm ready to die. He's cursing the day that he was born. who rejoice exceedingly. They are glad when they find their burial site. Why does he give light to the sufferers? He's just teasing us. He's making it look like there's going to be happiness. And Job's not feeling that right now. Why does he give light to a man whose way is concealed, and whom Eloah has hedged in? For my sighing comes before I eat, and my groanings pour out like water. For that which I greatly feared has come upon me, and that which I dreaded has overtaken me. I have not been at ease, nor have I been undisturbed, nor been at rest, yet trouble comes. That which I greatly feared has come upon me, and that which I dreaded has overtaken me. My sighing comes before I eat, my groanings pour out like water. There's a lot of metaphor for agony. You know what I mean? I'm going to turn my air conditioner off. Now it's getting cold out. It's been raining a little bit. Alright. Okay. Oh, yeah. All right, we're going to go into chapter 4. There might be a little bit more as we come through this. And Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, if one tries a word with you, would you become impatient? But who is able to withhold himself from speaking? See, you have instructed many, and you have made weak hands strong. Your words have raised up him who was stumbling, and you have strengthened the weak knees. But now it has come to you, and you are impatient. It strikes you, and you are troubled. Is not your reverence your trust, the integrity of your ways your expectancy? Remember, please, who being innocent has ever perished? And where have the straight ones ever been cut off? According to what I have seen, those who plow wickedness and sow suffering reap the same. Through the breath of Eloah they perish, and through the spirit of his nostrils they are consumed. The roaring of the lion and the voice of the fierce lion, but the teeth of the young lions shall be broken. An old lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered. And unto me a word was secretly brought, and my ear received a little of it. Amid thoughts from visions of the night, when deep sleep falls on men, fear came upon me, and trembling causing my bones to shake greatly. Then a spirit passed before my face, the hair on my body stood still. It stood still, but I could not discern its appearance. A form was before my eyes, silent. Then a voice I heard, is mortal man more righteous than Eloah? Is man more clean than his maker? Look, he puts no trust in his servants, and he charges his messengers with straying. How much more those who dwell in houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust, who are crushed like a moth. From morning till evening they are beaten down, they perish forever with no one regarding. Are not the cords of their tents pulled up? They die without wisdom. So, Job in chapter 3, Job spends chapter 3 lamenting on his existence. And Eliphaz has a response in chapter 4. Eliphaz continues his response in chapter 5. So we're going to have to look into that. There's no quotation at the end of verse 21, so he continues talking into chapter 5. And Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, if one tries a word with you, would you become impatient? But who is able to withhold himself from speaking? Look, you are terribly sad, and anybody else would want to help you as well. And so I'm going to ask you, if somebody tries to speak with you, are you going to get upset? Job is on his knees tearing his hair out. He's already shaved his head. So like he's just grieving bitterly. He's lost everything that he has except his wife, who people have said doesn't sound very nice. We're going to see more of her, but do you still hold fast to your integrity? Bless Elohim and die. She's a little bit bitter. She just seems like that, like if you keep doing this, you're going to get messed up. You know, she's Jewy. She's Jewy. Although we don't know necessarily right now that Job was a Jew, but he's definitely an Israelite. Okay. So that's Eliphaz trying to humanize Job a little bit. If one tries a word with you, would you become impatient? And this is great, like, advice for speaking to your friend who's grieving, trying to get through to somebody, like, would you listen to me? You know? See, you have instructed many, and you have made weak hands strong. This is him giving a compliment to Job. He's saying, look at the things that you've done up till now. You've instructed many and have made weak hands strong. Your words have raised up him who was stumbling, and you have strengthened the weak knees. You have strengthened the weak knees. But now it has come to you, and you are impatient. It strikes you, and you are troubled. So you've raised up many brothers. You've lifted a whole bunch of people up, and now that you're the one who's grieving and you're in a tough spot, you are impatient, and you are troubled. It struck you, and I know that this, I can sympathize with this in my life, and that I've helped so many people just be like, oh, who cares? You know what I mean? And then when it hits me, it's like getting punched in the face like 30 times, you know what I mean? And it's like, even like, you know, like everything affects different people different. We're all wired a little bit differently, but it definitely seems like there's certain things where it's like, oh, you know, like I remember, like, I'll tell this story. I had a guy die who was working for me. He was on payroll and he was working for me. And like for me, there was a lot of death in the pizzeria. But he died on staff, on shift. And I was telling my buddy, and his now brother-in-law is there, and he was saying about how he's like, I remember when my mom died. And I was like, yeah, different. You know, like, obviously that's a grievous event, but you obviously, too, like, there's a, you know, like, and it like, I didn't really know the circumstances. She could have been in a car accident or whatever, but, like, you know, just seeing the, you know, like, there's a level of expectation to that, you know what I mean? As opposed to, like, you're working with somebody on a Friday night and they just drop dead after the last delivery. You know, that's a whole nother. And so it just hit me hard. But realistically, the attachment to the mother, like, I should have been a lot more empathetic to him because that was his mom. You know what I mean? Like, that relationship is unreplicable. You know what I mean? And so him, like, when he said that, it didn't hit me. And so where I'm going with that was, but now it has come to you and you were impatient, it strikes you and you are troubled. So it troubled me more to watch, for this guy just to die so abruptly, than it troubled me to relate to this man's death of his mother. So, yeah. It's always easier when it's somebody else's problem, you know. Been like, And it's like, I've helped people who didn't have money. People have helped me when I didn't have money, you know. But as I get down to not having money, I become a little bit more cautious, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm very diligent in my ways. But like when somebody else doesn't have money and I have money, it's like, all right, whatever, you know what I mean? Because like, or like, I was at a concert one time and I was smoking, and like I wasn't smoking and my other friends were, and they got their weed taken away in the line at the concert, and I still had the bottle of alcohol, and I just couldn't relate to them losing their weed, you know what I mean? And they were like, I was like, well, here, you can drink this, you know, and it wasn't the same for them. And, you know, so some people have a better gift of empathy or sympathy. I think it's empathy, than others. And I am not one of those persons. And it seems like Job too is not a very empathetic person. He sympathizes, but he's not empathetic. So when the things happen to him, he doesn't understand how to utilize the same advice that he's given to others in order to overcome these troubles. Is not your reverence your trust, the integrity of your ways your expectancy? Which is great advice in itself, because is not your reverence your trust? Like, isn't the fact that you persevere and you tell people to persevere and you always have foresight and you see that it'll get better at some point, that is what you trust in? And the integrity of your ways, your expectancy, you know you've done nothing wrong. Expect this to get better, because there's no reason that you've been being punished like this. And I'm just thinking about certain periods of my life where this advice, and I read Job long ago and I couldn't see any of this, you know. And so, you know, we're in a weird place in America right now. So if you feel like your life is being upheaved and you're being smacked in the face, not even punched in the face where like it hurts and you can dip and dodge and punch back, like, nah, you're just being slapped in the face. Like, my brother used to like grab my hand and just like slap me in the face and just be like, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? And if life feels like that for you, you're not alone. Just keep persevering. According to what I have seen, oh no, we're at verse 7. Remember, please, who being innocent has ever perished, and where have the straight ones ever been cut off? That's as biblical as you could make advice. Who being innocent has ever perished? Because this is not saying that you're going to succeed. This is not saying that you're going to be given a whole bunch. This is not saying that you're going to be blessed. This is just saying that you will not perish for being innocent. Like, you will still be remembered. You know what I mean? Where have the straight ones ever been cut off? Path is narrow, the gate is straight. The gate is narrow, the path is straight. And where have the straight ones ever been cut off? They're not. The ones who stay on the path get through the gate. Verse 8, according to what I have seen, those who plow wickedness and sow suffering reap the same. Eliphaz, the observant one, those who plow wickedness and sow suffering reap the same. This is interesting. I'm very curious to see what happens. The counterculture of today is not like the counterculture of the 60s and 70s. It was very laxed and loving and like not war. And interestingly, we've become pussies, and so the counterculture of today is tough. Thinking of guys like Andrew Tate, Elon Musk, Donald Trump. Like, people hate Donald Trump because he tweeted mean things in the middle of the night. You know, and it's like, you're such a bitch that bothers you. That uproots your life. So counterculture today, as opposed to, we think of like the hippie movement in the 70s, you know, where people were like smoking weed and wearing tie-dye and had flowers on their shirt, which is literally where the Yellow Deli was born out of. And this was the part of the Jesus movement that survived, was the Yellow Deli and the 12 tribes out of that. And so, interestingly enough, the outspoken ones of today, the great leaders of today, are the tough ones. Because there's a limit on it, right? Like, when you're going into other countries and trying to Vietnam them and or do a whole bunch of weird stuff, you're not gonna garner the respect of the people because you're doing unnecessary acts of evil, as opposed to necessary acts of evil, you know what I mean? Which aren't evil because they're done in righteousness. And so, according to what I have seen, those who plow wickedness and sow suffering reap the same. And so, like, I guess that is the best way to phrase it, is the necessary evils, you know, and in order for you to win, somebody has to lose. Like, if you're going to make $1,000 in the stock market, somebody lost that $1,000 for you to make that $1,000. Because even, like, you know, if a stock is $10 and you buy 100 shares and then, or whatever, 1,000 shares, and it goes up $1, and so you make your $1,000 and then you cash out at $11 and the shares go back down to $10, whoever bought them at $11, now it's only worth $10. So that $1,000 went from them to you. So matter cannot be created or destroyed, you know. From dust you were made, and to dust you will return. So it's just interesting to see necessary evils, but those who do unnecessary evils will reap the same. But necessary evils are acceptable. And that's something to remember. Through the breath of Eloah they perish, and through the spirit of his nostrils they are consumed. This is how and why they have faith. Through the breath of Eloah they perish. The spirit, the breath is in the spirit. Yeshua breathes the spirit onto the apostles, and Elohim breathes life into Adam. Ezekiel breathes life into the bones. We've done this many times. John 21, Genesis 2:7, and Ezekiel 37:9. Or John 20:22, excuse me. Not John 21. So, through the breath of Eloah they perish, and through the spirit of his nostrils they are consumed. That's a deep one. The life of Elohim makes them perish. The life of Elohim makes them perish. The light, the way, the truth, the life, the goodness of Elohim makes them perish. The fact that good always prevails makes them perish. Because they can only be evil for so long before the evil consumes itself, like the snake eating its tail. Snake can survive, But once it runs out of food and sees its tail and starts to eat itself, it's going to die. Through the spirit of his nostrils they are consumed. The spirit of his nostrils is also the breath of life. He breathes into the nostrils. Genesis 2:7, and YHWH Elohim formed the man out of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils breath of lives, and the man became a living being. Through the spirit of his nostrils they are consumed. Wow. We're going to have to go farther into that later, because there's a lot there, and I don't even know about that one. So remember that. Job 4:9. The roaring of the lion and the voice of the fierce lion, but the teeth of the young lions shall be broken. An old lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered. And unto me a word was secretly brought, and my ear received a little of it. Okay, so through the spirit of his nostrils they are consumed. Wow. Infinity. The lungs of Elohim don't run out. The God of abundance, sovereign over all things, creator of the universe, has access to everything. There's nothing that he cannot use, whether it's Nebuchadnezzar or whether it's me, you, the guy behind you at the grocery store, the guy in front of you at the gas station, everybody. He can use everybody anywhere at any time. He has authority over all things, and not everybody admits it. So that infinity of YHWH is the ability to consume those plowing wickedness and sowing suffering. Wow. So the goodness will make them perish, and the infinity of the goodness will consume them. Wow. So the spirit coming out of his nostrils is like weed killer, and then like, I don't know, I'm picturing like a vacuum cleaner. You know what I mean? Like you gotta spray something and then vacuum clean it. Like, okay, even just like a counter, you know, you spray your bleach spray or your degreaser on the counter, your thieves, you spray it on the counter, and then you wipe it up. And so the breath of Eloah is the spray. The spirit of his nostrils consuming them is the wipe up. Beautiful. Praise you, YHWH. You are perfect. Perfect. You are perfect beyond belief. The roaring of the lion and the voice of the fierce lion, but the teeth of the young lion shall be broken. An old lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered. The roaring of the lion and the voice of the fierce lion, but the teeth of the young lion shall be broken. roaring of the lion. The lion's roar. The roaring of the lion. The regular lion roaring. The voice, the regular voice of the fierce lion. The teeth of the young lion. So very loud regular lion. So we're going to do volume and lion. Regular lion, loud voice. Regular voice, fierce lion. Young lion. And teeth, because the teeth are the actual killing mechanisms. So the teeth in the young lion, the loud voice and the regular lion, and then the regular voice and the fierce lion. And so the teeth, the actual killing mechanism of the young lion shall be broken. So they're all, as much as there's levels to it, saying that their effectiveness is the same. Because none of them actually get the prey. The regular lion roars. The fierce lion is more vocal. And then the teeth of the young lion are broken. That is quite a parable. Just trying to I want to draw that for you guys. And I guess this would be like a 3 and a 1. A 2. And a 2. 3 and a 1, 2 and a 2, 1 and a 3. No matter how you mix them, they're all gonna leave you with 0. An old lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered. Can't catch anything. And the cubs of the lioness are scattered. Subsequently, an old lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered. At some point they grow up and have to go out, and the old lion dies because it can no longer catch its food. So your old life is dying because it can't sustain itself anymore. And the new growth is going to go out, leave its roots, and grow elsewhere. Okay, verse 12. We're going into a vision that Eliphaz has. And unto me a word was secretly brought, and my ear received a little of it. I find it interesting that I received a little of it. Amid thoughts from visions of the night, when deep sleep falls on men, fear came upon me, and trembling caused my bones to shake greatly. Then a spirit passed before my face. The hair on my body stood up. We're going to know more details about this from 5, but this paragraph here from 12 to 15, I want to say it's all physical. This is all just him telling Job, his setting the scene for the happenings of the vision. Like he physically physically a word was secretly brought to me. So nobody else knew that I was getting this word. My ear received a little of it. I was physically able to get. I wasn't perfectly tuned in, so I got some of it. Amid thoughts from visions of the night when deep sleep falls on men. Amid thoughts from visions of the night. So he is when deep sleep falls on men is REM sleep. He's in the dreams, and amid dreams fear came upon me, and trembling causing my bones to shake greatly. So he got this fear in a dream when deep sleep falls on men. Yeah. So he's having a dream, and he starts having fear in his dream, but I don't believe that this is a nightmare, because we're going to see what happens. But then his spirit passed before my face. The hair on my body stood up. Like, people talk all the time about, like, oh, I have chills when they're, like, really getting the spirit in there. Yeah, imagine, like, the face of Yah. Even, like, I had a dream last night about my father, which I believe is parallel to the Father. Because somebody else had a dream about his father, which I was pretty sure was parallel to the Father as well. And I just could see the parallels there between them. Then a spirit passed before my face. The hair on my body stood up. Okay, now we're going into 16. Did you see all the water come out of the side of this bottle and not out of the top? Yeah, water bottles do that sometimes. They shouldn't, but they do. It stood still, but I could not discern its appearance. A form was before my eyes, silence, then a voice I heard. So the spirit stood still, but he can't make out its appearance. He knows it's a spirit, and he can't see it. A form was before my eyes, silence, then a voice I heard. Is mortal man more righteous than Eloah? Is man more clean than his maker? Look, he puts no trust in his servants, and he charges his messengers with straying. How much more those who dwell in houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust, who are crushed like a moth. From morning till evening they are beaten down. They perish forever with no one regarding. Are not the cords of their tents pulled up? They die without wisdom. This is what the Spirit says. The formless, the form that cannot be made out, says 17 to 21 to Eliphaz. And he can't exactly see it. He can't make out any characteristics, but he knows that it's a spirit. And then a voice I heard, is mortal man more righteous than Eloah? Is man more clean than his maker? Okay. We know the answers to those are no. So, presumptively, Job should know, because of his fear of Elohim and his offerings to Elohim, that all of this has to be under the control of Elohim. Is mortal man more righteous than Eloah? So, do you think that your ascending offerings and your fear of Elohim are more than I give to you? Is man more clean than his maker? I mean, that's, is man more clean than his maker? No. No. Man is not more clean than his maker. Man is made by the Maker with all the dirty parts. And selfishness and oftentimes it's a pot, you know, like a clay, like a sculptor in a pot. And like imagine dirt getting into the pot, into the clay. You know, like, I mean, the clay is dirt, but just a little bit of dirt in the clay. It would make the pot less strong, but the sculptor is not contaminated by the dirt. Look, Yahweh, Eloah, puts no trust in his servants, and he charges his messengers with straying. He doesn't just trust you, he has to test you. And he charges his messengers with straying. So, and this is an interesting part of the relationship with Yah, is that he pretty much gets to test us and charge us whenever he wants. And it's not as cut and dry as the black and white texts. His messengers, lowercase messengers. Let's go to another translation and see, is this if it says messengers, okay, so this one, and he finds fault with his angels. Look, he has no faith in his servants, and he finds fault with his angels. All right, so now we got 2 out of 3. Bringing out the big guns here. This is a Catholic Bible, which some people are going to see this and be like, well, then it's clearly wrong. But it's a Bible, bro. So, can't be that wrong. This one says angels. Lo, he puts no trust in his servants, and with his angels he can find fault. Yeah. He charges his angels with straying. So his servants, his angels, possibly even his sons, you know, he doesn't trust them. Which is interesting to me. Even Yeshua, like the capital S Son, isn't trusted. He's still got to be tested by Satan. The one who's been there from the beginning of the earth has to be tested. And we see this as we go through the gospel. We've only done the Gospel of John together, but we see this. I was talking about it with Hushai in the Acts 7 video. Yeshua, like, relax as time goes on. You know, like, he knows that it's coming to an end. He knows that, like, it's like, think about, like, your workout, you know? Like, if you do my workouts are a half hour and they're just intense. You ask somebody about insanity. Like you come into the end of the workout, I know that last 25 minutes, I'm just like throwing my body around. I'm just like, I just want to make it that last 5 minutes. I know that the end is coming, and I'm just like, I'm a little bit looser, and I'm like, it's almost easier for me to go because I don't have the whole thing before me. Like I know that it's there, I know what I have to do, and like I can see the end. So like I just could see like I could see relaxing too. You know what I mean? Like you even look at like older pastors, they start to, you know, have less zeal. That's why our prime years are so important. You know, I've spent the last 10 years working for money diligently. I spent the last year working for spirit diligently. What are the next 10 years of our lives going to bring? How much more those who dwell in houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust, who are crushed like a moth. Oh, so this is contrast, 18 and 19. Look, says the Spirit. He puts no trust in his servants, and he charges his messengers with straying. He doesn't even trust his own people, the ones that he gets reports from. How much more does he charge and not trust those who dwell in houses of clay, those people of earth, his messengers, which are, you know, like his, like just for argument's sake, without going into scriptures, like messengers, like he, like his servants, his prophets, his, you know, his kings, you know, David, and David's an interesting relationship because he does seem to have so much faith in David, you know, like you never really see, like David prays and David does all this stuff, but you don't see really where Yah's coming down and being like, hey, I saw you scratch your ass, you know, you can't be doing that when you're on the throne, you know. It's like he doesn't start having problem until he's doing real sin, fighting against his brother, killing a man to take his wife, you know, things like this. And David is one of the most blessed kings in the Bible. He's literally the bloodline of Yeshua. So, how much more does he charge and not trust those who dwell in houses of clay? These are people. Messengers and servants are also, can, you know, like for this, we'll just say, compare them as men. But this context means angels and like the sons of Elohim that we'd seen in Job 2. What does this say? I think it probably does say sons. Yeah, this says sons again as well. Whose foundation is in the dust, who are crushed like a moth. Okay, whose foundation is in the dust, from dust you are made, and who are crushed like a moth, to dust you will return. Not going any more into that. From morning till evening they are beaten down. They perish forever with no one regarding. Are not the cords of their tents pulled up? They die without wisdom. They, us meager humans in the face of Elohim, from morning till evening are beaten down. They perish forever with no one regarding. There's no one to stop them. They're here. I let them live. I beat the shit out of them. They perish. They disappear. They're killed. No one can stop me. Are not the cords of their tents pulled up? They die without wisdom. Yah's tough.